And welcome back, everybody. This is your good old host, SOS here.
And this is Sly Elsewhere.
And we're just coming back at you with another episode of
The Apocalypse Bros.
And we're back with another episode of The Apocalypse Bros. I already said that, but that's okay.
I'm back again.
That's right. And it's episode 6, which is awesome. We're mid-season. If that's the way we decide to do it, that's how we're going to do it. It's mid-season. I don't know why I said it like that. That's kind of weird. Anyways.
Of the season.
That's right.
That's
the center. It's like the Wednesday of our podcast
right.
season.
Hump episode?
Hump episode. That's right.
Are you going to title it that?
That's
probably not.
And then we're going to do like
That's how you get the E ratings, the explicit.
That's true. You got to be careful.
Right.
We're going to have Anthony come in as like a mascot, and he's going to do some like little bit like he did in that Geico commercial or whatever it was.
Right, yeah.
The Hump Day.
It's going to be come in and do that, yeah.
Hump episode.
Back in the old days.
Guess what episode it is? It's the Hump episode.
Are we going to like voice over? He can't talk.
That's true.
I mean, not to most humans.
What do you think Anthony's voice would sound like?
It's very high-pitched and squeaky. Yeah,
something like this.
Kind of like the old Simon Chipmunk, but probably not as high.
That'd be pretty high. I don't know if I can.
Maybe not as high.
Yeah, I'm Anthony, and it's time for our Hump episode.
There you go.
I don't know. That's the best I got.
A little less, but I mean,
yeah,
he's
probably.
a raccoon,
Yeah.
So
I don't know. What if he had like a really deep voice? What if he comes in? It's time for our Hump episode.
Maybe
that'd be trippy.
It's possible.
Whatever the case, we got some headlines from the news. We're all wondering what's going on out there in the post-apocalyptic world. Well, we're here to tell you because that's part of what we do on the podcast.
Yep.
So, Sly, what do you got for us today?
Well, so there's been a lot of talk in the news about the mail-in voting. As you know, there's none of the open polls are open, and the what's left of the ballot places, any of your usual places, whether old schools, old churches, mostly in ruins these days, mostly hideouts for raiders, so you got to be careful there anyway. So the sanitation union is making sure that they want to keep you safe. As always, the number one goal is safety for the public. So they are making sure that in the most safe way possible, so you don't have to worry about catching the COVID, you don't have to worry about getting raided by raiders, you don't have to worry about
bitten by Rona roamers.
You don't have to worry about going outside and dealing with that stuff. So they are going to go ahead and make it nice and easy for you, and they're just going to let you mail it in this year.
Awesome.
So now we know that the postal service is less than desirable in the corona apocalypse, but what we do have is various things like horses. Mm-hmm. We do have messengers. So if you have a private messenger that you can use that. Otherwise, there are public ones. They are sometimes a little bit less reliable, but they get the job done, and you don't have to pay anything extra other than the $1.50 stamp, which you can obviously pay in a roll of toilet paper or in a hunk of metal.
A hunk of metal.
They
specify in the type of metal, or is it just
depends.
Pretty open?
See, now iron is going to be obviously going to have to weigh more to get it more. Now your more precious metals, obviously gold, silver, is going to have to weigh less. So it's all about really what your metal is worth in weight. Exactly.
Sure.
I mean, you don't want to really send too much. If you send like some sort of iron ore or something, that might be a little bit too heavy for the messenger to carry. So you might
that'd be quite a burden. Yeah,
would be.
Just
so maybe try to go gold or silver, but any of those metals will work. It's just gonna be tough. So
yeah. Now I've been told that they even have been training a few birds, such as like back in the day when we had messenger pigeons. You might be able to, depending on your area and what's available to you, you might even be able to find some messenger birds to take your mail-in vote.
Exactly. Hopefully you find the ones that have not been mutated yet, because they are less scary and their talons are much less smaller, and they are not as carnivorous as the new pigeons or different sort of corona birds that we have going on.
And those will eat you too.
Right.
So if it starts eating you, hey,
that's
your
can't
first
mail
sign. My vote in this way.
Yeah, if it bites your hand, that's trying to give it the letter, like the old adage is, make sure, you run away.
Now, just to make sure that all votes come in and they get assessed accurately, please remember these are going to the sanitation union.
Of course.
And of course, you should always write in pencil to ensure that when the sanitation union receives your vote, if they need to make any edits because of errors or they don't like your vote, but whatever the case, they want to be able to adjust it
exactly
as needed.
And don't worry, because Sanitation Union, has as their other second greatest thing, opposed to obviously safety, is that they're definitely all about integrity. So they will not change what you've done, but they will just make sure that it is correct. But
that it's accurate.
If they do receive any in pen, they will destroy them immediately.
That's right. So make sure it's in pencil.
Pencil only, please.
That's right. Thank you. Also, the unfortunate side of that is that, of course, they're going to be short on staff as far as who's going to be counting these votes.
Well,
so
of course.
Unfortunately, Sly and I are going to have to help with the vote counting. We're not looking forward to it, but we're excited that you all will be sending your votes in. We'll be excited to see what you guys all vote for, and then we'll be excited to see who gets chosen, because it might not be the same as what you all vote for. But that's okay.
That's okay.
Because the Sanitation Union has our best interests in mind.
They know what's best. That's your PSA.
That's right. Next up on the headlines, we have college students, or what's left of college students, coming back to, well, what's left of colleges. If you are somebody that goes to college, well done. You survived the post-apocalypse, but you still have loans. Congratulations.
Yes, they never go away.
That's right.
They just are harder to pay.
There isn't any what's left of loans. There's just the loans.
That seems to be the one thing that hasn't gotten destroyed.
It's student loans.
Actually, it's just kind of built upon itself. And
That's
kind
right.
of rolled into larger loans.
Now, obviously, your many things are going to change. Your living quarters have changed. The cafeteria food has changed, probably, unfortunately, for the worse.
Yeah, probably not anything really
You
better.
thought back then that it couldn't get any worse. Here we are, in the apocalypse.
Then you open that bill from that pigeon that drops it off, and you're like, well, at least the bill's not going to be high. And it was from 30 to 60 grand now a year.
That's right. That's
and
right.
You don't even know how to pay it back, because most of the normal U.S. currency that we know of it is hard to even get a hold of.
That's right. You got to really start collecting all that toilet paper.
Yeah,
and you might be able to do so from the dormitory bathroom.
Yes.
Could be a nice life hack right there.
Exactly. Now, we know, just like with Bitcoin, how that always was, which of course now is pretty much useless without the use of technology. But
we've gone back to mining like we used to, where we mined
real
metals.
mining.
Actual mining.
Yeah,
pickaxe, shovels.
Kind of like data mining.
Maybe metal detectors, if you
mining.
can find one with a battery that's still working. That might help.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you get solar power charge. You can solar power charge it.
That's a good point.
I think it really makes money. But just like with Bitcoin, we know that the value of the toilet paper sheet is down right now because it's not as high as demand as we have seen. But we are looking forward to it going back up as shortages arise. I have heard from an inside source.
Those darn stonks.
Stonks.
Can't keep up with them.
No.
Now, of course, if you live near a college, you have to deal with what's left of parking. We personally understand this just because one of the Sanitation Union offices that we frequent is right next to what is left of the college.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, with the students' returns, whatever horse and carriage, buggy, maybe car, who knows? Whatever people are riding around in these days is just taking up all the space. It's very frustrating. So, unfortunately, we don't have any life hacks for that. You're just kind of stuck with it for the school season, which is three quarters of a year. So.
Yep. So good luck. Good news is not many people actually have working cars these days. So
true.
Bicycles and even little mopeds, which are really just
large
kind of
dogs.
Like, like small motors put on the bikes, since that's about the only thing you can really use.
That's right.
But so large dogs, horses, any animals that you can find that have not become mutated and try to eat you.
Mm-hmm.
So, which are becoming less and less by the day from my sources.
Oh, well, that's nice.
No.
Oh, wait. Oh, not
right.
running out of them.
They're less and less friendly.
They're less friendly.
Right, less normal.
Yes.
Animal.
We're less likely to find your usual friendly dog.
I guess the less they become, the more normal they become. So the new normal is.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting reverse.
It's like the new Australia.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
Well, that's everything that we got for headlines today, folks. I am excited, and I'm sure Sly is also excited.
We've been trying to get this guest for a while.
That's right. And we finally got him. We caught him in a trap that Anthony helped us create.
Anthony did help us create.
And now he has no choice but to join us for this episode of the Apocalypse Bros.
Still generous of him, though.
It is. And we appreciate having him here. And without further ado, I want to introduce our good friend, Maskin Robbins.
You know what? I'm just going to take this thing off. Yeah, I am Maskin Robbins. Yeah, that mask just really makes it difficult to talk. So if you're comfortable with it, I know we're not exactly 6 feet or whatever's left of 6 feet apart.
Small studio.
Right, yeah. So if you're comfortable with me breathing in closer proximity to your nostrils, I'm going to just keep that thing off.
Now,
Sure.
I would say that because of our closeness with the sanitation union and working closely with them and being, it's kind of we scratch their back, they scratch ours type of thing. Of course, always legal and very integral work. They have provided automatic. If you look around the room, it's automatic aerosol containers that will spray every 5 to 10 seconds. So making sure the air is purified as we go. So we have made those precautions.
Yeah, you know what? I wondered what that noise was, and I wondered who was sneezing, and wondered who I needed to wish God's blessing upon. But if it's the aerosol things that are spewing out, that's totally fine. It's purifying our air, and
right.
I love it.
It's that and the 52 cameras we also have in the room, making sure that
when they move, they make this like zzz sound.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah, those are completely essential.
right.
Yeah,
Safety.
absolutely. And it's all about essential.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we're about.
Everything is essential these days. Essential workers, essential deodorant and body sprays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get me started
Essential
on
oils.
I think
yeah.
Gotta love those.
I
Gotta
think
have
that is the
those.
third pillar of the sanitation union. So I think it goes safety, integrity, and then essentiality.
Oh, essentiality. Right,
Is that a word?
Sure.
Essentialness.
They've made it a
Essential-
word. It's the apocalypse.
Yeah,
Essentialness-ality?
Essentialness.
Yeah.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah. I think all of those work.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Maskin Robbins. What is your job out here in the apocalypse? What do you do for a living?
Well, I was contacted, I would say 3 or 4 months ago, and was tasked with the very, again, essential duties of making sure that everyone who comes in a general proximity of the sanitation services and the other powers that be, they should be wearing a proper face covering. And so they said, hey, Maskin Robbins, your name just so lends itself to this job. We thought you would be the ideal candidate to ensure that everyone who comes close to these areas are wearing these face coverings. And
Absolutely.
I said, okay, yeah, sure, I'll take it. And they kind of explained the duties to me, and basically they put me under this canopy right outside the entrance of alternating days. Some days I would be at the sanitation services. Other days I would be at one of several polling places, which seems to be a little bit not necessary these days, because they're talking about mail-in or pigeon-in or large dog/horse in voting.
And once again, not that
Lots
it's
of options.
not that it's not allowed for you to go to these polling places, but they can't say that you're going to be safe.
That's true.
Yeah, when I was stationed outside of polling place number 12, I didn't see anybody that whole day. And in fact, I had to use the restroom really badly, and I went and I checked the door, and the door was locked. So if anybody had come to do in-person voting, they wouldn't have been able to get in. So they're really sticking to this mail-in voting thing.
Yeah,
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
So I guess
Safety.
that means you're not going to have like a super busy job. I mean, if the trend continues, you won't have a super busy job this season when voting kind of comes around, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, and I mean, if they want to pay me in that one small chunk of iron ore a day, they can't give me a large chunk because my pockets aren't big enough and I'm not
Right.
strong enough to carry one around. So they give me a little small chunk of iron ore, and hey, that's plenty for me. But the real payoff of this job is my tan has gotten so incredible, and I never thought I would say this, but I am loving my face mask tan line.
Oh yeah.
That's I saw in the trending. Kind of how memes are posted onto into different stores and on light post stuff, since we don't really have the internet in a vast quantity. I've seen that in the polling numbers. One of the trends that's rising has actually hit the top 100 is now face mask tan lines. So
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
you are a trend starter possibly.
I mean, that has its own category on certain websites. Let me see your face mask tan line, baby.
I believe it.
Like, oh, who? Like, I haven't personally accessed any of those.
Sure. No,
sites.
of course not.
Heard about them.
Right. You can't search my browsing history because there's no evidence there.
There is no browsing. Yeah, that's right.
What are you accusing me of here, guys?
All those hackers out there, that's what they're after. They're after our whatever still exists of our browsing history to find out what kind of face mask tan lines are.
Those deviants.
Those guys. I mean, in all honesty, they're probably just trying to find out some new videos for themselves or photos or whatever the case.
Bored.
Yeah.
See what we got.
I'm all out. Now, obviously there's such a big trend on these face mask tan lines. Do you ever find it difficult to get people to wear their masks, to allow them, obviously entrance into any place that they need to be going to, but otherwise, they can't get their face mask tan line without wearing a face mask. But do you find issues with getting people to wear their face masks?
Oh, absolutely. See, the first thing that I notice about people when they walk toward me is if their whole face is the same shade or the same color. If there is no difference between their chin and their forehead, for example, I can tell they have not been wearing their face masks.
Exactly.
And so as part of my job, I need to stop those people and say, hey, whoa, Buster, whether their name is Buster or not, that's what I tend to call them. I say, whoa, hey, Buster, or Buster-ette, depending on gender identity.
Right.
And they say, what are you stopping me for? I said, I noticed that your face has a very, very, very equal shade of melanin all the way through. So I said, that tells me one thing and one thing only. You have not been following this mask mandate. And they're like, yeah, well, I think it's a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo. And I said, I didn't know we said mumbo jumbo anymore in this post-apocalyptic world that we live in. Thanks for that throwback. But also, it's not mumbo jumbo if it's mandated. And I talk to them as sternly as possible. I'm a pretty non-threatening guy, but when it comes to wearing these masks that you are supposed to be wearing, I can get a little on edge.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I believe it.
What does that look like if they continue to non-comply? What steps do you like to take?
Well, over the course of time, I've been brushing up on my jiu-jitsu.
Oh, nice.
My taekwondo, my tai chi, and the names of other forms of martial arts, and I threaten those actions against them. Have I really studied how to do any of that? No, absolutely not. But I know the names of them just in case I need to threaten somebody with them. Hey, man, I know Tai Chi. And he's usually not threatened because, again, I'm a pretty non-intimidating fellow. So typically when they disagree with my point of view on the masks and whether they should be mandated or at the discretion of the potential wearer, they usually scoff and kind of I've heard some swears and some potty mouth itties being thrown in my direction.
My goodness.
And when I tell you what, when somebody gets that way to me, I'm a tender-hearted guy, and so I can kind of shed a couple tears, but I'm wearing my mask, so those tears are caught and they are dried up the moment they drip down my cheek.
That's right.
Wow. Another perk.
Right, yeah, and it is a little salty, and I have an iron deficiency, so that is also that helps my health out a lot.
Yeah.
I need all of the salt I can get.
That's true.
Well, you heard it here, folks. I mean, for goodness sakes, if you're not wearing it just to keep other people from getting sick, wear it to help catch some of that salt content from your tears, and that's going to increase your iron in your blood.
Oh, absolutely. Last Tuesday, I had 4 guys in a row. At least I think they were guys. I really can't assume.
Right.
But
Sure.
they came up to me and they had pretty deep voices. So if they were not guys, then they were ladies who like to partake in that cigarette smoking and kind of lowers their, hey, my name is Madge kind of thing. Yeah. So they approached me, and 4 in a row started getting really, really mean and aggressive toward me. And I kid you not, my face mask was soaked. It wasn't just damp. It wasn't just moist. If you, I apologize for using that word. It was soaked, and I didn't have to take a beverage break at all.
Wow.
I didn't have to go to the what's left of the vending machine and get what's left of the water. I just could kind of and suck in some of that salt water.
Sure.
Killing-
It wasn't like waterboarding where you're like, oh, I can't even breathe. Oh.
I had a little bit of control over how much I took in at a time.
Right. That's good.
Right. Yeah.
When you have the option between like you got your nose under there and your mouth, you know, you can kind of like, oh, I want water, mouth, and then go, all right, now I need air, nose, you're good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's like your own homebrew of sports drinks.
Yeah, most definitely.
Lots of electrolytes, all the electrolytes.
Every single last one of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
They come out of my body and then they go right back in.
Out with the old, in with the still old, but your body can kind of
Recycled.
make
It's
it
like
new.
urine, but
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's like who was that survival guy
that Bear
back
Grylls.
in the day? Bear Grylls, yeah.
Which is
Drink
amazing.
his
He
own
did
urine.
not survive the Corona apocalypse.
That's true. It's
Did not
unfortunate.
prepare for that.
It's one of those things, you know, you can prepare for wild animals, you can prepare for harsh environments, but man, disease just comes in. It's invisible.
Yeah.
Can't see it. It'll get you.
It will. It'll just sneak right up and grab you.
That's right. From behind.
Sometimes literally when it comes to the Rona roamers.
That's true. You don't want those.
I had a narrow escape with one of those Rona roamers.
Yeah, I was just
Did
gonna
you
ask.
use our Heelys like we've recommended people to have?
Well, I had them on, but one of the wheels popped out.
Oh.
So I was just going in circles.
Did you buy them from one of those secondhand corner stores?
Was that not where I was supposed to go?
They have been known in the past to sell defective. They replace them good enough for you to kind of test them out, but they're pretty much just Elmer glued on. So
They drove such a hard bargain when trying to pitch them to
those
me.
are very rare to come across. So I mean,
You know
people
how
see them
those
and they're like, wow.
cornerstones can be, corner stores. They hit on the trends and then they just like, oh yeah, this is exactly what you want that everybody else has.
Yeah.
Buy it for way up
Exactly.
to price, you know?
50 pieces of iron ore versus 100, what they used to be.
Jeez.
I mean, half price.
Well, and I was just so desperate to get rid of the 50 pieces of iron
Right.
ore
Oh, yeah,
inside my
that's
pocket because my pants were falling down and I forgot to wear my belt.
That alone was slowing you down.
It was, yeah.
Up
So,
your speed by 150% anyway without it.
oh, yeah, absolutely. So going in circles, yes, but really slow circles. I'm talking
Right.
about like a carousel
Oh,
that only works half the time.
Oh, I used to work at one.
Ooh,
Sounds like you didn't. Sounds like you did not come across one of our speedy roamers then.
Which is good, yeah.
Yeah.
The enhanced Rona roamers,
Yeah.
if you will.
Those, because they're fast, but they are poorly balanced, so they're still fall over.
oh, yeah. This one that I came across had a limp,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he also had a lisp, which was odd
Oh.
because moaning with a lisp is,
Right.
is kind of
it's
right. Exactly.
It's like I'm terrified, but also curious.
Like I want to know what he has to say, but I can't understand it.
ooh.
I just like the lisp because it adds a little bit of mystery
Yeah,
to what
absolutely.
is on his mind or what's.
Sly, write down Rona Roamer interpretive device, and we'll send that to the labs. That might be worth some promise. I never thought about that.
Got it.
That's a good idea.
Sending it off.
So you did. I mean, obviously, you managed to get away from the Rona.
I
Roamer.
did get away, circle or not, with my half working wheelie healy, which is what that corner store called it. I don't know if that's the knockoff. I should have known when I giggled when they said the name. That should have.
That's always that.
Usually, if a name rhymes, it's probably not the original product.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
I did get away. I decided to skate backwards a little bit so I could look this Rona Roamer in the eye as he approached me and then continued to approach me. And I got to tell you, his limp was super cute. It just kind of took a step forward and then stepped to the side a little bit with a little bit of a hunch. And I wanted to take a photograph, but then I realized people don't take photographs anymore. What am I saying? Yeah, he was quite adorable, but he got pretty close to me, so I started taking things more seriously and grabbed on the tail of one of those horses that happened to be delivering some ballots
There you go, yeah.
written in just pencil to one of the nearest polling places, and he took me out of there.
Wow.
Pulled me to
Awesome.
safety.
My goodness.
Thank goodness.
I know.
Yeah,
That's a hero.
We have had instances in the past where, unfortunately, people have seen cute Rona roamers, whether it's a limp or whatever it is, something that intrigues them to them, and they think, it doesn't look so it doesn't look like it could harm me really that bad, and then they walk up to it, and then it's game over. So you were at least had the fortitude and understanding that, no matter how cute this thing does look, I remember the old adage, never judge a book by its cover, and no matter how cute the cover of that Rona Roamer was, you decided to get away. You saved your life that day.
I did, and I am completely and forever indebted to that horse that just so happened to be passing by at the time.
Was it Charlie? Now, Charlie is one of my favorite mail delivery horses.
Oh, yeah, Charlie Horse.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember him. He can kind of get on your nerves. Sometimes he'll bite like your thigh, and it'll be like, my leg,
Oh,
And you
Charlie
gotta,
Horse.
Yeah,
He's like,
oh, you
"Whoa."
Charlie, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you gotta kind of like walk it off for a little bit before things get back to normal. But in this case, if it was Charlie Horse, he saved a life rather than
And he's
jeopardizing it.
He's very fast.
It's true.
And,
He
and
is.
thorough.
That's
thoroughbred, you
Yeah.
would say.
Absolutely. If he was a loaf of bread, he'd be a thoroughbred.
Yes, all the way through
He's
and
a
through.
pumpernickel. So awesome. So, do you have a preference for masks at all, by chance?
Well, there was one that was made out of gingham that I really took to.
Okay.
And this mask, it didn't cause me to sweat as much as I wanted it to.
Oh, man.
Again, iron deficiency. Gotta have my
gotta have-
annual sweat intake. Bringing that in. So the gingham one was really, really good, but I wanted something that would be more helpful to my health. So I just strapped on a burlap face mask, and it was itchy. It kind of rubbed on my skin a little bit, but I will tell you, I sweat like crazy in that thing. So I will take some of that chafing in exchange for my hydration, and I would trade that any day.
Yeah.
Now, there are those weird group of people that really like the leather masks out there,
Ooh, yeah.
which would be great for sweating. Hard to breathe. Very hard
And
to
on
breathe.
top of it, I feel like because the leather is such a slick surface, your sweat is
Right.
coming off of you, but then it's just going on down.
Yeah, it just
you're not
would
going to
continue
be
on
able to
down.
catch it like
Very
you'd want
slick.
to. So,
true.
like water off a duck's back.
Great for the
Isn't that what
pores,
they
though.
say?
Great for the pores.
there you
Yes, a leather duck. I
Yes, a
believe
leather
is the
duck.
Duck that they were
That's
referring
right.
to. Yes.
A leather mallard.
Yes.
More than likely. Now, we talked about the face mask tan lines. Do you ever see anybody do any interesting patterns, and how would a person kind of pull that off?
Well, when they used to have barbershops, how people would just make these crazy cool designs in their beards and in the sides of their head. I saw a guy who cut his face mask into a zigzag pattern,
Nice.
but he alternated, so it zigged one way, but the other side zagged.
Oh.
And so when he took it off, of course he was mumbly, so I couldn't understand him. And I said, I will back up a little bit, spread ourselves out. Please take off your mask because I can't understand you. He took off that mask, and that zagged tan line on his face. Oh, it made me just gasp with awe.
Weak at the knees almost.
That's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And I couldn't tell if that weakness in the knees was due to that reaction or just because I have really weak knees.
Right.
Yeah.
Due to the iron deficiency.
Yes,
The iron
absolutely.
division. It's interesting that this whole trend is coming up. It's almost like reverse facial hair.
It's
Like
true.
most people, they'll grow facial hair out around that area in order to like cover themselves. Whereas these tan lines, it's almost a reverse of that, where they're not covering themselves with the additional melatonin levels on a certain area of their face, which is kind of interesting.
Well, and if you remember back to our episode with Catherine Cowbell, the first time now in the dating game, when she talked about how to design different masks. And, some of that, we had a lot of good feedback from the different gangs of the apocalypse that talked about, wow, this was really helpful. Give us a whole new outlook in our thing, really upped our membership, which was good to hear. But some of them also have started taking that, and with whatever their gang is called, with their signs and stuff, they've actually started etching that into their mask in the same way, so that the tan lines would be on them. So they won't even have to worry about actual tattoos, because especially now you have to worry about infections and everything else.
Nothing's clean.
Yeah, and
Not like it
antibiotics are
should
harder
be.
to get onto, so you really don't want to mess around with actual inking your skin. Now, if you can get just a sweet tan on there, you wear it enough, even in the colder months here in the Midwest, it stays a little bit darker than the rest of your skin. So it really helps make sure that people know where you're a part of. And as we know, it's very important for people to know who you are a part of when it comes to the apocalypse that we live in.
That's right.
Right, and I meant to ask you, do you know if the Upper West Side Crazies, if they're still doing that checkerboard pattern? Is that their go-to still?
As far as I know, I believe it is. Yeah. No,
I heard they
definitely.
were thinking about transferring over to a chessboard.
Oh,
pattern,
okay.
because they have really wanted to make sure that people know that they're not just checker players, but also chess players. They have more intelligence than that.
Now, I heard that they were going to start styling it in a clever way where it looked like the pieces were moving across their tan line. And then you would actually make your move on your face.
Oh, wow.
And then they would make their... Usually it would take like a week to make a move because you'd have to wait for the tan line to
like, is that how they like get different levels in the gangs? Like how you work up to being like
yeah,
the
actually,
boss?
yeah. I think that is what they were going for. Like your clever
so the
tanning
king
of
me,
yourself.
when you say king me, you actually, that's it. You're the king now.
Now,
the gang.
on top of it, you also have to keep in mind, I mean, they're going to have to start moving towards, if they continue with this strategy, a whole full face.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That's going to have to be their go-to in order to play a full game of checkers.
Oh, quite literal face masks.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like the kind you wear when you're going into a bank so that you don't get anyone sick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Or if you're trying to do a Hellraiser cosplay.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That's the other.
Exactly. It's going to be one of those two things.
I feel like we
100%.
just live in like an internal cosplay now. People just kind of...
We're like in a giant Mad Max
It's
cosplay.
very true,
That's
yeah.
what we're in.
Which is probably because apocalypse.
Yep.
Which is weird because it's nothing like what we thought when you look at Mad Max.
No, it's sort of a little bit of a mix of everything.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard the last episode, we actually talked about some of the movies and shows and stuff that did apocalypse back in the day. How it compares to now. Does it compare to now? How well? How, what did it get right? What did it get wrong? Kind of things.
Once again, if any of you have an old DVD of Waterworld,
Oh, yeah,
or
I still need to watch
Kevin Costner, you're out there listening, hook us up.
That's right.
SOS still is missing the Waterworld.
I'm missing that Kevin
experience.
Costner swimming around. I can only assume swimming around in
He's
a
got
world
like a
full
little
of water.
like raft.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
It's a world of water.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, he doesn't fully swim, but he definitely leans over the side of the raft and paddles with his hands.
There's definitely touching off his body to the water at points.
Wait,
Yes.
is Kevin Costner Aquaman? That's what I'm gaining from this.
Maybe this is... I'm just going to say no. I really...
Oh,
no.
I was gonna say, is this his backstory?
I mean, he is...
or is this the
he's a man
ending
who
of Aquaman?
deals with Aqua, so...
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, maybe he was the original Aquaman,
Sure.
except on a boat.
I mean, Aquaman's just like a dude from Atlantis. So.
Right.
And he, if anything, if nothing else, he is an Aquaman,
Yes.
if not
Yes,
the
exactly.
True.
Aquaman.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The difference
yeah.
between
So,
An
yes.
and D. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So, masks. We're still on the topic of masks. We deviate every now and then. That's just how the show works, and that's okay.
You know by now, listeners. You understand.
But everybody's supposed to be wearing them. Now, are there correct/wrong ways that a person could be wearing these masks, or I guess not wearing, if they're doing it wrong?
Yeah, well, if they have decided to wear these masks and they're just fully committed, I would say the wrong way to wear the mask is to wear it in such a way that it just completely messes up your face mask can line.
Oh.
Like if you've worked
man.
so hard on getting that bridge of your nose to be a certain pasty color that it should be, and then you decide to wear your mask underneath your nose, that's just gonna give you a tri-shaded face.
Yeah.
You know, your nose is not gonna be caught up with the rest of your forehead because it's been living underneath that mask for so long.
So true.
So if you decide to pull that mask just down below your nose, you're dealing with the really pasty chin and cheeks area, and then you've got just a little bit of color, maybe a little bit of a sunburned red on the bridge of your nose, and then the top of your head, your forehead is just like a nice let's say oak shade.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you really want to embarrass yourself, wear that mask underneath your nose, and then people look at you with just the funniest of expressions because now they see you've got 3 shades on your face, and that's just not okay.
That's true. That's a good point.
I mean,
Yeah.
Either wear it right and get the right kind of tan, or don't wear it.
Yeah, commit or quit. You
That's
know,
right.
that's what I always say.
Now,
That's what
obviously, if you got a tan line on your forehead, I mean, we don't even know what to tell you at that point, because that's just
that just means that you're wearing your mask on the wrong side of your head. The
That's
wrong-
right.
You know,
you might as well be
difference-
wearing a hat.
Yeah.
Right. The difference between the top and bottom of your head, very drastic.
If you haven't gotten that far in school,
It's probably those big bandana wearers
Ooh, yeah.
who just wear the bandana like say like this is my mask, but they never actually wear it as a mask, and it just stays on top of their head. You know, and that's how you really know when it, like you said, you have the tri-color difference where they only put it on, you know, when they are mandated to, and that's it. You know, not really caring about others.
That's true. That's true. And that's what it all comes down to. It's kind of a sense of selfishness.
Exactly.
Now, you've mentioned before there are some people that choose not to wear masks when they're supposed to and have kind of rebelled against this kind of concept. Do they ever make excuses for themselves on why they don't want to wear these masks? I know one, I guess, meme from pre-apocalypse that survived the apocalypse is this concept of Karens, per se.
Right.
Yes.
And I know that's always kind of been continued into the apocalypse as the term for a lot of the people that choose not to wear masks, for instance, among other things. But
Right. And I think that the name Karen fits quite well because they are definitely not caring about anyone else, just
Totally
themselves. They're just caring about themselves. And so when they choose not to mask up at all, you know, some of the times when I'm posted outside of these buildings that I'm assigned to, I'll ask somebody, "Hey, why are you not wearing this mask? You know there's a mandate," and they'll say something about some kind of poor excuse for I have health issues. I'm allergic to plaid, and that's the only kind of face mask that my specific town is selling. And I say, okay, well, according to what used to be the HIPAA laws, that they kind of readjusted and renamed to be called the Hippo laws,
Right.
not to be confused with the large water-dwelling mammal.
that's right.
They
Completely different.
yeah, completely not the same thing. So, according to Hippo, they are protected from me asking any further questions. So if I just ask them, "Why are you not wearing this face mask?" and they give me a reason associated with their health, that's as far as I can go. I can't call them out and say, "No, I just think you're a Karen," and that will not land me in some very comfortable conversations.
Sure.
Very true.
Yeah. So once they mention anything about health, my hands are tied.
Sure. That's got to be frustrating. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a large stream of people trying to get into the retail store down the block, and one lady, all she had to say was, "I've got a health condition," and then it was like it was a game of that game we used to play over in the elementary schools. That telephone where you pass it down the line.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! This first Karen passed it to her second Karen, and all of these Karens and their husbands, Kyle and whatever else, whoever else was there, Brad and Scott and all of those. Oh, Scott!
Don't tell me Scott was there.
He was there.
Man.
He was number 8 in line. And all they had to do was overhear the first, second, third person in line mention health, and then it was like a domino effect. Except nobody fell over. They just all
went on inside.
yeah, they did.
Jeez.
Oh, and number 4 in line didn't catch his name, but he just open mouth sneezed directly in somebody else's eye, and boom, they caught the Rona just like that.
You know who
my
that is?
gosh.
That's Eugene.
Oh, was that him?
Yeah, he has that hut down the road.
He's one of those, what do they call them, where they don't have the symptoms?
Oh, he's asymptomatic.
Yeah, asymptomatic, but he's got it, 100%.
He's got it. And he's had
just
it
out
for,
there
like,
just spreading it around.
Months. It's like it's.
He doesn't wear a
apparently
mask.
He just sticks with him. It's a strange. Eugene's a strange case.
Yeah,
he
it's
does.
kinda
He just will
disturbing.
openly sneeze on people.
He's like Alice from Resident Evil, where the virus is in him, but it's not like affecting him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But somehow,
Except it's not giving him superpowers either.
No.
So he's just coughing on everybody.
Yeah, it's that sneeze.
You know?
Superpower
The
sneeze.
superest of his powers is the ability to aim really perfectly.
That's
toward,
right.
Like the esophagus.
Yeah.
Like,
Right down.
yeah.
Right
yeah.
into people's eyes. And,
So gross.
Geez. Yeah, it's gross.
Fast
This
as
is why we don't hang
Eugene.
out with Eugene anymore.
Yeah, that was.
I don't blame you.
Ever since he got it, you
Ever
know,
since
he's just
it was the
not been
cookout.
same.
I had him at the cookout, and we found out about it.
And then we
saw
left the
him-
cookout like
We saw him sneeze on George,
immediately.
and
He was
and then we
headed
found
towards
out-
the grill with the rat brats.
Yes.
And the
Oh,
Yeah.
when he started sneezing
Yeah.
right by the German sausage. Oh, that was
yes.
the worst.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, we had the. Yeah, that was not
German
good.
sausage is the worst.
It is absolutely. Yeah.
But also when Eugene sneezes
It
on
really
also
was.
kinda
Yeah, I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So was Anthony.
Blutwurst.
Anthony had to go out and catch. I think that's when we got the rat sausage. Actually, German sausage was ruined by Eugene.
That's
Kicked
right.
him out. Anthony said no worries in his little raccoon voice and said, "I got you guys," and ran out
Yep.
and grabbed us some rat.
Yes.
And we cooked that up.
That's right.
Not bad.
Did those rats still have the tails connected?
Yeah, it's kind of like I think our
It's sort of like a
theme-
reverse handle.
Yeah, I think
instead of like holding a food up like you would like a popsicle,
Well, like,
you
yeah.
hold it upside down like
Oh,
a chandelier.
just a simple dangle.
Yeah, dangle.
The,
Yep,
the
yep,
rat
exactly.
dangle
Rat
sausage.
dangle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was. We were doing a because we knew that times were coming to an end, we could see it kind of written on the wall, where we were going to have to start gathering less. It was kind of one of those like last hurrahs, and we kind of were doing like a county fair type of thing where we wanted to make sure that basically everything we were going to eat was going to be on stick. So we figured keep the tail on, use it like on a stick.
The theme of the party was sticking to it.
You know what? Yeah, that's what it was called.
I love that theme.
Sticking to it theme.
Sticking to it.
That's what it was.
And here we are, eating rats to this day, with or without the stick.
Mm-hmm. I've gotten quite an affinity for rat meat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I never thought that I would, just with how diseased they are. But the disease adds a little extra protein.
Most of it gets cooked out, but the good stuff stays around. Gives a little flavor.
New disease tastes so good.
And I mean, what? You're gonna be sick for like a day, but at least you ate.
But when you recover,
man,
the recovery is so nice.
That's right. It's kind of a high almost.
It
really
is
weird.
Worth it.
Yeah, right. Well, it's like what they say. I mean,
Anthony
bacteria
feels
is in
good.
medicine. So
yeah, that's why Anthony feels so good all the time.
That's true.
He's always catching
he just
diseases.
doesn't even get the sick part of it. He just
gets the high.
You think he's immune by now?
Yeah,
he's got to be.
He's got to be.
A lot of garb. Nothing really gets cooked.
Something about raccoons, man.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. Well, you know what, Maskin Robbins, it was great to have you on the show. We really appreciate you coming in and giving us a rundown. Is there anything you wanted to say to the fans before Sly's actually going to send you out with some stuff? And but is there anything else you wanted to kind of finish off with before we head out?
I just want to say that if you are one of those people who does wear that mask, just keep it up. They tried for a while to do that. Speaking of the voting and the ballots, they tried to do that voter ID thing, which would come in handy with everybody's faces covered up. But they thought that would be too handy. That would make that voting process far too easy and ethical. So they got away with that. And they just said, hey, whether you're wearing the mask or not, grab your favorite number 2 Dixon Ticonderoga pencil, fill out that ballot, make sure you don't write too dark or
don't press too
down
hard.
too hard. Exactly. So that if there is any need to revise what you've written, hey, just do it that way. We'll send it in just the proper way. So if you are wearing that mask, just keep it up. I'm so proud of you. If you decide not to, well, I'm not going to bully you, but I am going to offer you a word of wisdom maybe. No one likes a face that has matching melatonin.
Very true.
Melatonin makes you sleep. Melanin is the word I was looking for.
But
you know what?
Right.
If you are sleeping without a mask because you took too much melatonin, then the melanin will be just one color. So whether you're sleeping or awake wearing your mask, you just got to be careful not to make it just unicolor.
Yes.
Now I do have one last question, and this is coming in. I'm seeing this on the boards, literal boards. Just etching it in as I see people pass by the bunker window. But they seem to be wanting to know, are you guys hiring? Now, in our first episode, we talked about, we actually had a sanitation union rep on, and we talked to him about hiring. And it was a whole long process, and it seemed really tough. You had to go in the sewer, blah, blah, blah. You may or may not survive, that type of stuff. But it seems like they kind of just found you. So do you have any recommendations, or do you know if you are hiring, and how to go about that?
I sure would hope that we would be hiring, because right now I'm one of 2 representatives. Well, see, when I show up, when I show up for one of the assignments that I have throughout the day and not the other, I don't know about you, but I can't be in 2 places at the same time.
No.
So when I'm at one and I'm not at the other, I get the highest of praise and the lowest of scorn, both at the same time. You are a fantastic worker. You're a great employee. Thank you for being at this shop over here. But then in the next breath, my employer is just chastising me for not showing up for work 6 days in a row. What is going on? You should be more like Maskin Robbins, who shows up every day to work, other than being Maskin Robbins, who just decides to do whatever else with his day.
Right.
So it's confusing me. Do I have more than one personality, more than one identity? I don't think so, but it's kind of making it feel that way.
Right. Maybe, kind of confusing.
Maybe you need to get one.
I mean, maybe
a second personality, and then
you can be in 2 places at once.
Is that shop still open? That's doing the multi-personality?
They might be.
They might be.
Because I've got plenty of iron ore to pay for it. Believe
That's
me,
right, you do.
Yeah,
that's right. Awesome. Well, no, that totally makes sense, and you're right. Everybody out there, we all want those really sexy face mask tan lines. We all want them. We want them over our nose. It's just it's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
You might be the one exception to the clearing of my browsing history. I might keep that browsing history on if it's a nice enough face mask tan line. No
right.
shame in
Things
that.
Things go back to normal. We might still be looking at some nice face mask tan lines.
Yeah, no shame in the face mask tan game.
I'm not allowed to drop any website names, but maskoutlet.org. That is one website that you cannot prove that I have visited.
That's right. We might have to not check that out later.
I will
Anthony,
not.
don't pull that up.
That's right, Anthony.
Speaking of pulling it up, pull that mask up over the bridge of your nose.
That's right.
That is one more thing that I can just beg and plead of you to do.
That's right. The nose is part of the face mask tan line. It is part of that. It will not look the same if you don't do it. It's not a real one. It's fake.
They wouldn't need that extra 1.5 inches of cloth if they didn't expect you to put it on top of your nose.
Exactly.
That's right.
They would just
100%.
snip that off and use it for something else, like patchwork quilts.
Yes. We all love those.
Yeah. I have a couple of those.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Sly, tell us a little bit about what we're going to be sending off with our fantastic guest, Maskin Robbins.
If you know anything about the trap that we built to get Maskin Robbins here in order to be on the show with us, which of course he was generous enough to still be, it was really more Anthony's idea, but he actually used this big old megaphone. Now we know how hard it is to mandate mask to the back of the line when you have a long line, and trying to use that voice, especially with a mask on, is tough. So this is actually specially developed to work well with masks, so that you can able to use this megaphone in order to yell at the people at the back of the line. So if you have any issues with, Karen's passing out a telephone, well, you now have a megaphone. So you are mega carrying them. So it's really, I think, going to be a great gift. And of course, like all of our gifts, it is etched in with Anthony's claws, the Apocalypse Pro logo. So
I love that. That's something that I'll cherish and treasure forever.
It's our gift to you.
I thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming onto the show. Like I said, even though we may have helped push you along into the studio, you still gave us some great information today and some fantastic, interesting perspective on this whole mask dilemma.
Oh, my pleasure. It was really dark in that trap, and I appreciate a little bit of sunlight. And if I got to talk to you for a little bit, that makes it all worthwhile.
Awesome.
Now, did you get the old tortilla scraps that were down the bottom?
Is that what those were?
That's what those were.
I may or may not have used those to clean out the between my toes. But yes, I did eat them afterward as well. I wasn't sure what they were, but they came in double handy.
Two uses is better than one, as they say. So.
That's the key to the apocalypse. Right?
And it saves me from just licking out in between my toes.
There's your tip for today.
That's right.
Use what you eat. Yeah, exactly. Whatever you clean with, eat it as well.
That's right. That's right. Extra flavor.
Can be wasting your money makers like toilet paper.
That's right.
Someday the stock's coming back up. I have sources that tell me.
They always do.
They always do.
As they say.
They never stay down.
Everything that goes down must come up.
Unless your retail stores.
That's right. Then you're
once
done.
they start going down, that's
everything's going by messenger now. Votes, packages, whatever I buy from other
horses.
people.
Horses stock is up.
That's right.
Everyone needs a horse.
Them stonks, man. So, thank you all for listening. This has been another episode of the Apocalypse Bros. Remember, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube even. Basically, anywhere you could find a podcast, you should be able to find the Podcast Bros podcast. If you are on iTunes, you could drop us a review. Otherwise, if you'd like to drop us a review, head on over to Facebook, where you can join the Apocalypse Bros Bunker group and leave us a review there. Or just hit us up in the comments or ask us a question. We're pretty open to hearing people out. We always love suggestions and questions from our audience.
Pay attention to those polls on there.
That's right. We get polls on there every day all about all these apocalypse questions. We're curious about your experience out there in the apocalypse. We want to hear from you. So make sure to check it out there. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And we'll see you next time on
The Apocalypse Bros.